Meet Josh. As a 6-year-old boy, he was full of energy. He loved scaling trees, playing with his friends, and running around simply. But that all changed when he started taking the blood-thinning medication warfarin. Why? Because any major blow to his body could result in internal bleeding. Life radically changed for all the wrong reasons when Josh was misdiagnosed with having a blood clotting disorder. How did this happen? This happened because his blood test results delivered a false positive when compared to the adult norms, even though they were perfectly normal for a 6-year-old boy. To top it off, his medication required weekly blood tests, and the misdiagnosis left him depressed and excluded for 2 years. My name is Associate Professor Vera Ignjatovic, and I am a medical researcher specializing in pediatric hematology, aka kids' blood. The things get worse for children. 3 out of 4 medications have never been tested in children. And in fact, the majority of medications prescribed for children are actually not approved to be used in children. This is a really serious situation. Yet, millions of Australian children are prescribed medications every year by well-meaning doctors. Frequently, the only factor that's taken into account when administering medications to children is their body weight. They simply get a smaller dose because they are smaller. However, as logic insists and research confirms, children are not little adults. The AFL seems to think otherwise. In the 1950s, the antibiotic chloramphenicol was frequently administered to newborns. 2/3, 75% of these newborns died as a direct result of chloramphenicol toxicity because their livers were simply too immature to process the drug. How many similar scenarios are we going to face if we continue this way? 70 years later, chloramphenicol is still in use. However, due to targeted medical research in children, chloramphenicol is used differently, and it's no longer killing our children. Approximately 2 million Australian children have 1 or more chronic health conditions and are receiving at least 1 medication. Now, arguably, these children are a part of a live experiment. We are administering drugs to them and experimenting with them every single day. And this really needs to change. To top it off, Australia's children are shortchanged when it comes to medical research funding. Whilst Australian children make up 20% of our population, only 9% of the medical research funding is dedicated for medical research focusing on children. This is more than a 2-fold difference. We need to invest in medical research for children so that we can so that the funding can reflect this critical segment of our population. Medical research is undoubtedly a good investment. Medical research delivers a $4 return on every dollar invested. Now, I think that's a pretty good return on investment. Medical research is a financially sound, but more importantly, it is a life-saving investment. I call on medical research funders to double the funding for medical research allocated in children. By investing in medical research focusing on children, we are investing in Australia's future, in Australia's health, because our children matter. Now, quickly back to Josh. After 2 tough years, he was taken off warfarin, and he returned to playing footy, and he returned to playing with his friends. However, those 2 years of his life will never be returned. Thank you.